This week on the Push Pull Loads podcast, we talk about Dan's event in Nottingham, I'm moving house, we get a YouTube update, and a tri-coach has sent me a very questionable email.
3, 2, 1. Dan's back from his biphasic sleep.
Hey guys, welcome to the Push Pull Legs podcast with myself, Dan Meek.
And me, Tom Hall. What's going on, buddy?
Wish I had a biphasic sleep. I'd be feeling better. Yeah, I don't have time for that during the day, unfortunately. Never mind.
You're a uniphasic sleeper.
I am, yes, through necessity, as most people are. Yeah, it's just the way we live, isn't it? It's the way society says we should sleep, but it's probably wrong. Yeah. Society is wrong, as we always know.
We'll come on to that a little bit later in the show.
We will.
That's a good hook, isn't it, Dan? That's a good hook. Learn that.
It's a very good hook.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. People are like, what?
What are they on about?
What are those clowns on about? Sorry, guys, we haven't been here for a week. Dan has actually been in England, but that means he doesn't actually like seeing me in England. This wasn't the Tom's allotted time to come see Tom in England time. So
that's in the summer.
He has to play with his friends up north.
Yeah. Well, we'll have the same thing when I come visit you, mate, for a bit of time. We won't be able to do podcast then either, so it's all good. But yeah, no, it was a good week back. To be fair, it was enjoyable to be back. Dare I say, in the UK, it wasn't as horrific as people make it out. They're always like, "Oh my god, you hate coming back." I don't hate coming back. No, like it's not that bad a place. Like again, Nottingham's always a bit of an interesting place to go and see what's there. I use the word interesting very loosely. But yeah, no, it's good to be back and being on the same time zone as most people as well. Like, I feel like I'm ahead of the game, whereas here I always feel behind because it's like late. Obviously, here when we do this podcast, for example, I always feel a bit behind, even though I'm literally in front. But sounds weird saying that, but I feel behind everyone. But yeah, it was good though. It was a good event to be fair. Saw Tom, went out for food with Tom. That was nice, wasn't it, Tom?
We went to a Bella Italia. I know we roll pretty crazy.
Yeah.
With
we know the place. We know the places to go when we're in Nottingham.
Well, actually, so Dan and Mike had to save up, so we had to go cheaper because they had to put some different money aside for something for unforeseen circumstances. So, which was honest, I was like, we were to go a bit crazy, but they were like, oh, we just got this uninformed bill that they got. So we decided
we're going to go to Michelin restaurant.
Yeah,
we're going to go to Michelin restaurant and spend £1,000, but we just couldn't afford it in the end, unfortunately. But never mind. Don't worry for another day once we retire, no doubt.
Right.
So yeah, that was all fun and games, but it was all the better for seeing you, Tom. That's the most important bit, isn't it? Hey.
Yeah, for the talks that I managed to sit through, it was all good. So it was absolutely. We'll talk about that. Fuck it, I don't care. Let's roll. Yeah, it was nice though. It was a long old drive for me. I was like, I'll drive it, it's fine. But it was on the way back, I was like, this is shit. Because it's like going there, it's like, oh, it's fine, early in the morning, buzzy, blah, blah, blah. I'd had my uniphasic sleep. I was absolutely fine. I'd woken up like normal. Because I'm normally awake at like 5:30 anyway. So it's just like, all right, fine, let's go. And then I got to stop off for coffee, had that kind of, ooh. And then on the way back, when it's like 8:30 and I know I'm not going to get back to 11, like 11:10, I was like, this is a long drive. And obviously I did it in one hit. And I was just like, fuck this. I went cruise control at 75 mile an hour and just sat there.
Oh, breaking the law.
No, sorry. No, I didn't. I did 70. I know they're definitely scraping this podcast to see.
100% they're scraping it, mate. 70 tops.
And just like cruise control all the way home. I was just like, I was so tired and passed out when I got back.
I mean, especially from London, the train's just the obvious choice because it's so much easier to get to Nottingham than the train, surely.
I just couldn't be bothered with the train back. I don't know why. I think it was I had to get like to the station was annoying, like from where we were, like into the uni. It was like a half an hour walk or like literally either a cab or a bus thing, and I was like, oh, can't be bothered. I just want to get in my car and go.
Probably to drive home for that.
So, exactly. So it was fine. It was fine. It was good. It was nice. It was good. Good seeing everyone. Should we go through the event?
If you would like to, Tom,
I feel like we should mention it. I can't remember who was there now. Well,
You can't, can you?
I don't normally go, so that's one of the, it was good to see it from this side, and I can tell
Yeah.
people what I took away as a learner. Not that I was just like sitting there dicking around with Paul Ellis most of the time, if I'm honest.
About to say that's what you're doing most of the time.
Well, it was quite fun, like seeing people. Of some, didn't have a fucking clue who you were, but thank you for saying hello. Wonderful. I'm assuming probably from
Yeah.
this or that kind of example. I'm sure that happens to you. Well, it's your event, but everybody knows who you are. But
But it's like people come to you and go, oh, hi, mate, great to see you. And I'm like, they don't say, I am this person. They just say it. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, that'd be good.
cool.
Like,
Literally.
really odd experience. Yeah.
Unless I've conversed with you like on like there's a few like Ryan and like JC and like some of the guys on like Instagram that I go back and forth with like every now and again that we like chat. Um but yeah, other than that, I was like a couple of guys. I was like, I have no idea who you are, but thank you, good job.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm sure this is the podcast. It must be the podcast where they found us, right? But it's, yeah,
Literally. But yeah,
a
next
bit
time if
weird.
you see us, please say your name or where you know us from. Because yeah, would be lovely. But
It's
even
just a lot easier.
Captain By Phase at Sleep was like very shaky handsy, and I was like, he doesn't fucking remember me at all whatsoever.
No,
No
you
chance.
won't know.
I was like, I've done a couple of talks with him, and there's no chance that he's got a clue. No, he's done a lot of
No.
talks. He's done a fucking lot of talking. He's done a lot of talks.
I'm not surprised. No, I think that would.
Literally. All right, we'll go for it, and then well, I guess we can vaguely talk about. I'm moving house today, as you can see. There's some. If you're watching on YouTube, we don't. But yeah, there's some boxes behind. They got nothing in, but I thought that was enough of what I wanted to do yesterday. Put the boxes together. That's enough
Well
for
done.
that. Basically, there.
That's a big step you've taken there. Well done.
To be fair, I did a massive cull of stuff in the new year when I got rid of over 12 bin bags worth of shit, which I knew we knew we were moving, right? And over this kind of half a year. And I got rid of a load of stuff. And I honestly don't think I've got that much stuff. Honestly. I think I got rid of so much. And I will get rid of so much still. And I'm not taking a lot either. Like of my stuff, I'm taking my desk and my mattress. That's about it. There's no other
I think
big
that's the
things,
thing I love about moving is getting rid of all your shit, all the crap
right?
that you don't really use, and you can kind of really go through it all.
I'm not
I
like
love
I'm
that.
gonna get rid of all those drinks. They've been there since I've moved. I'm taking my TV. About it. We're literally getting rid of everything else. Uh, be nice. Be nice. But yeah, that's going to be me for the next week. I think I'm going to gradually move. So that's exciting, isn't it? But people say it's the most stressful time. I think I've done it so much that you
No,
must
I
have done
think
it.
I think it's more buying it, and also with like a family or something. It's a bit more like I think
Mm,
for you, like
just
it's
me and
kind of
Chloe. It's like,
yeah, and also as well, you're only moving technically like what a room and a bit, or 2 rooms and stuff. A whole
literally,
house, I think, is a little bit more of a fucking
yeah,
ball ache with everything that goes on with that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I guess so. Like getting because we're getting rid of stuff and then buying new shit together as well. It's like a
yeah.
little bit, meh.
The
But
next move for you will be stressful.
yeah, I'm
I
sure.
would
But
hypothesize.
and obviously all of my stuff is shit, and all of Chloe's stuff is fantastic. So
Yeah,
that's what is
and
happening.
I
Yeah.
completely agree with that. All your stuff is phenomenal. Yeah,
There's a couple of things where I'm like, no, I want my air fryer because Chloe doesn't have an air fryer. So I'm like, bring the air fryer. That's
yeah.
happening.
Well, you are an online coach. You do need an air fryer, so you know.
Yeah, exactly. How am I going to post my air fryer recipes? How will anybody ever do things? Obviously, like golf clubs need to be somewhere.
Yeah.
My bike needs to be somewhere. Um, that's about it. All my vans, they need to be somewhere.
All your vans, definitely.
Which is all good. All good then. I went in the new flat today, and then all I did, I literally just bought some because I was like, oh, I need to go and do something in there. So I went and logged into the internet and then ate some sushi, and that was about it. And then I left. Strong.
Strong work, mate.
And I had a pee and put some toilet paper down. That's about it. I was like, yep, I'll be back here tomorrow. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm just counting how many steps it is up. So annoyingly, it's a free floor walk up, but it's right.
It's not ideal, is it? But hey, you win some, you lose some, mate. You know,
you win some.
lovely new apartment you got, and just means just a few flights of stairs. That's it. That's cool.
Chloe's very annoyed. It's got literally everything we need, and she's like, I can't walk up.
Good for a step. Stairs. Be good for a step count.
Yeah, I was like, it's great. It's like just extra fucking cardio. Lovely.
Yeah, no problem.
Just cheating life. I feel sorry for the cardio man. Fucking hell.
Well, it's more the Ocado man and the people moving the stuff for you into the house. They're the ones I feel sorry for.
Yeah, definitely. We
ain't got to do
anything. All right, let's go through your event. Speakers number 1 were Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Bill and Ben. Yep. Any other dynamic duos?
No.
Andy
Cole and Dwight York.
Andy Cole, Dwight York.
They're the main two. They're the two.
I'm gonna. You can talk about what you talked about, and I'm gonna get the best duos.
We talked about understanding your niche on a very, very deep level. I think a lot of business mentors now have jumped on this idea of having a niche and how important it is. Again, just coincidence. Right around the time we came on the scene and started talking about why that's really important. Is that coincidence? Who knows?
Yep.
So they started talking about that, and we were going into like how they actually still get it wrong even with that. They go, oh yeah, pick 30 to 40-year-old guys who all do this, or their goal is to lose weight, and it's like, that's not a niche, that's just stupid. So yeah, I kind of went deep into showing people how to figure out their niche and how to kind of really pigeonhole themselves as like a one of one. It's kind of like the way I described it was like, everyone's in competition within the room. And, if we just talk about fat loss or just talk about muscle gain, you're in competition with every other person who talks about it. It's like, how can you create an environment or a situation where your competition is just you, like you're one of one because of the way you do things and how you go about it is so uniquely different. Talked a little bit about that. Went into, and we talked about it again on the members call on Monday as well, kind of going deep into some of these things so that we could, I suppose, flesh it out a bit more, and already had some good feedback from that. So that's the main thing that we discussed. Again, I had lots of nice feedback. Thank you to everyone who said it was good. Thanks for lying to my face and talking behind my back about something different. That's fine. I prefer it that way. But everyone said it was pretty good. And then after that, we had Mike Samuels was on to talk about storytelling, copywriting and persuasive copywriting in sales. How to maybe think about things slightly differently and not just go for the most logical kind of marketing strategy and think about ways that we can start to think differently about how we can market ourselves. And again, a lot of the things that me and Mike have talked about before, where it's like, remembering why people want to lose weight in the first place. A lot of the time it's to do with the ego, it's to do with their social status, to do with how they look to other people, as much as it is about what they actually want, etc. And again, Mike Samuels backed a lot of that up with some of the stuff he was talking about. The one with the writing the kids' names on the sweets or whatever was quite a good one. I thought it was again, it's just a different way of thinking about a problem. For those that would make sense. Sorry, I just realized it won't make sense to anyone. Basically, they talked about a marketing campaign where I can't remember what it was. Someone they were struggling with a litter problem. I think it was a shop owner was struggling with a litter problem outside their shop. And it was all the kids that were eating all the sweets, and then they were just leaving a litter lying around outside the shop. So what the shop owner did was he knew the kids and who they were when they came in. So he wrote their name on the wrappers for the kids, so it made it look as if it was for them individually. And what happened was they stopped littering because obviously people would know it was them that littered. So again, it's about approaching the problem differently rather than writing up a sign saying don't litter, because obviously they're just carrying littering. It was a way around the problem that would have been slightly unconventional. So it's just thinking a little bit more like that. And again, I think there's lots of applications to online coaching and fitness.
I like those stories as well because I'd heard a couple of them before from the lad he was talking about, right?
Rory Sutherland.
I've listened to a lot of Rory Sutherland, and I love all of his like stories. And you're like, oh shit, yeah, that's cool. It's like how he's literally Mike Samuels was the one I wrote the most notes from. He had a whole different notes section because I find that interesting. And I'm like, oh, how can I apply nudge theory? That's what it was.
I think it's when you realise that when a lot of the stuff that Roy Sutherland and that Mike went over is that you realise that people don't entirely do things logically.
Yeah.
I think it's that. I think it's this assumption that, again, online fat loss coach, online personal trainer, people want to hear about fitness from me. People want to know about fat loss. And I'm like, nope.
Nope.
That's the logical thing you'd think, but humans aren't logical. We're emotional. We're not logical creatures. And I think Roy Sutherland's really, really fantastic at showing
Yeah.
this. I remember the one that he did where he did one about the Eurostar. Or was it
Yeah,
Train
yeah,
Journey?
yeah.
It was a Train Journey or something
He
like
did
that.
train journeys, didn't he? How they should market it because it was marketing as like the quickest journey or whatever it
Yeah,
be. And they were like, no, you should just if that and it is cost this much money to make it like half an hour shorter. He was like,
yeah,
you should have done only spent $1 billion, had page three models or models running down and serving them Dom Perignon and like
yeah. Would have
Dom
cost you far
Perignon,
less.
and it'll cost you far less, and people will not complain whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like it was like that's a
It's
quality
it's
over like
even it's
efficiency.
even down to like so I think there was one that he did another one similar way they worked out that they could spend something like 600 million making this train journey 8 minutes shorter, or
Yeah,
they could have invested 3 million and put Wi-Fi on all the trains. And he was like, Wi-Fi makes it the trip usable, whereas without
yeah.
the Wi-Fi it's not a usable trip. And he's like, again, it's just, or even putting desks down where people can put their laptops and putting plug points in. He's like, these things are designed to make the journey more bearable. And it's same with like Emirates versus EasyJet. It's like people go on that because it's more enjoyable experience flying 7 hours doing that way than it is 7 hours doing, again, an airline that doesn't provide any of those things. And it's like trying to, again, just think differently about the problems that you foresee in business. And I think there's a lot of that can be applied to, again, online coaching to a certain degree, but even more so for me, social media. And again, not thinking so logically about it because we are emotional creatures and we don't act logically, we act emotionally. And I think that's the key thing. I think, again, online coaches need to remember.
Yeah, the interesting one, but like message of wording, how not to annoy someone, right? Was like I remember one of Rory Sutherland's ones. There was it in San? It was either in Saint Tropez or Saint Moritz or some little French town, Saint-Emilion maybe. And there was a restaurant that they didn't want people on their phones or phones going off, and instead of going, please, like turn off your phone when you're in my restaurant, blah blah blah, no answering, blah blah blah. They wrote on the exit saying, you may want to turn your phone back on from now. So remember to turn your phone back on after you've left the restaurant. And then it will be seen as like, oh shit, there must be a custom that you're meant to turn your phone
Yeah.
off in this restaurant. Instead of you saying you have to turn your phone off, it's like, remember to turn it back on when you leave. Because that's a
Yeah.
nicer way of like, that's reminding you and stuff like that. So I like the fly one on the
The urinals.
urinal.
Yeah.
Because we're blokes, right? I'm just gonna aim at that fucking thing and try and kill the fly.
Yeah.
Or if there's like a urinal cake in your aisle, I'm going at the fucking urinal cake. Like
Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah.
target, right? It's such a stupid thing to do, but I'm like, yep, I'm gonna spend 2 seconds doing that. It's so much more fun.
There you
Peeing
go.
everywhere. Yeah. I don't know how that equates to online coaching and posting content, but I'm sure it does somewhere. So, but yeah, that's nudge theory, right? He was talking about that, which was interesting. I liked that talk. It was very left field view of certain things. So that was fun.
Yeah, so that was good. And then we had who was after that? Kaylee was after that. So Kaylee talked a little bit about how to again kind of like process, I guess, the ups and downs of business. She kind of been through a fair few downs, I think, and kind of overcome them. And it was talking through how she got through that and got through a bit of adversity with it.
Yeah.
Then we had Phil Learny talking about sleep, and I think a lot of people fell asleep.
I mean, that was ironic.
Yeah,
oh,
talking about that.
yeah. I mean, that was the talk. Obviously, his company HMN24. I think it's something 24. I don't know what HMN means. Human.
Human 24.
Is that what it just
I think
means?
it's human 24, I think, yeah, like 24
right,
hours
okay.
in a day.
24 hours. I got that then. Thanks, mate. But it baffled me. The talk, in my opinion, is just so against the grain of how obviously I've spoken to that kind of crowd before, or like lots of crowds and like seminars and stuff like that. And it's just so different from how I talk, of like encouragement of learning and discovery and want instead of kind of I didn't like the way he would try to transfer information of like I am the king of knowledge here and you will like learn from my spoken words and I am going to be like the messiah of whatever's happening in through sleep and all this stuff. fine, but don't come across like we're stupid. Like I felt belittled during that one, and Dan actually, we were messaging throughout, and I walked out. And I was like, I can't listen to this. I'm so bored. Also, I didn't find it very applicable to online coaching. Like, it's applicable, but it's to the 0.00001% people who are trying to get that gain, which I don't believe the people who you are working with are, if I'm honest. I think they're looking for like fucking the minutia. It's like the people who are looking for those recovery protocols when we go, have you had enough sleep? Have you eaten like a pig today? Have you done your 4 workouts that I prescribed? No. Well, can we start with that, please? Like, have you tracked your numbers? Have you decided to actually message fucking 50 people like about their dogs this week? I don't know, all that kind of crap. And I was just like, nah, just wasn't for me, unfortunately. But people liked it. I might be in the minority. I don't know why, but it did feel the lack of critical thinking from maybe the audience needed to be more of apparent, like during that talk. Because we were sitting there. So the basic nuts and bolts of that talk was caffeine's bad. We should be sleeping like obviously this many times, and these things that I've got suddenly, shock horror, I'm going to outline some bad stuff that happens when you have caffeine and you disrupt your sleep and you're not like adhering to this, but I have the formula for changing that, and this is what you're meant to do. But from a sociological level, and the social health kind of level, we were like, coffee is a good thing for social health. It drives people together. You get to have like common ground. You're going to invoke like open conversations over certain things, which is going to be a good thing, rather than cutting caffeine or these kind of small things out of your life and having like what is basically a supplement, if I'm really honest.
Yeah, for me, it was like, I mean, obviously, like, he kind of went on. It was quite a long talk, wasn't it? That's why I referred to him.
It was a long talk.
It was a long talk.
I left.
It wasn't.
I came back and it was still going.
I think the key thing was it was quite complex and quite in depth, and for me, like, I was hoping there would be a little bit more of the nuance around how can we actually make this applicable to those people and make it more socially acceptable to consider these things and where's the biggest bang for our buck that we can get. Because I don't believe that many people's clients are going to give up caffeine and coffee. I don't believe many people's clients are going to give up alcohol. I don't believe many people's clients are going to wake up and fall asleep at the same time every single night. No. Which was kind of what was the gold standard, right? Alongside obviously a few other things of what you can do. And it's kind of like, okay, if we're working with top high-level athletes who want to perform in the F1, they'll do whatever you want them to do because they're paid tens of millions of dollars to do that. Whereas when we start talking about the everyday Joe that wants to lose a little bit of body fat, we want to optimize sleep to the best of our ability, we already know that it's hard enough trying to get them to stop looking at blue light an hour before bed. We already know that it's kind of hard to get them to not reach for their phone as soon as they wake up and kind of do these things. So it was more a case of like, I would have preferred to or liked to have seen some extra nuance around, okay, if we could just do 3 things with people that are going to get the biggest bang for our buck that I know that majority of people can do, these 3 things. This is why. This is what it does. This is why it works. This is how it's going to benefit everyone. And instead, it was like a play-by-play rundown of every single sleep cycle possible and how we can optimize it at different times of the day and what goes on different times of the day and what the things that we're doing in the day negatively impact our sleep. And there wasn't really nuance around these negative things that go on, but actually these negative things that go on during the day are never going to stop. So, like, I'm never going to stop having a cup of coffee in the morning because I like the taste of coffee. I don't actually drink coffee for the caffeine. Like, that's why I stopped drinking it past 12 p.m. because I know I need to because of the caffeine. But if I could drink it and it tasted as nice with caffeine as it does decaf, which it doesn't, I'd drink decaf all day long. But it doesn't taste as nice. There's a reason for that. It's because the caffeine protects the coffee bean. It protects it. It's a natural occurring compound, right? So I believe I sleep optimized as well as it can be whilst drinking caffeine is my opinion on that. Now, whether that's true or not, Phil may disagree with me. He said that in the talk, everyone says they think they sleep well and all this sort of stuff. But like you said, look, how probably the most popular guy at the end with questions. Loads of people ask loads of questions. Loads of people at the end wanted to speak to him more about some of these topics, and I've since had lots of good feedback on it. So people obviously keen to know more about it. My big thing is making sure, like you said, is that anyone who's interested in it, make sure that they A, speak to their clients in a way that they understand about those topics, and B, make sure that what they're taking is applicable to the people that they work with. I think that's just the key message. And I would also say the same about every single speaker there. Again, like with Kaylee's talk, for example, like only certain people are going to take some stuff from that because they feel like they're always on these highs and lows of business, right? And what they can take from it. Likewise, mine and Mike, some people go, I know my niche already, I don't need to worry about it. Cool. Like, you can't do every single talk for every single person. But it's just important that you can be, I suppose, analytical and make sure that you critically analyze the points made and go, does this apply to my niche? And I think that's just probably where for you probably just, for your niche and some of the things you do, you probably just critically analyzed it more than other people have or do, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's like, yeah, because I'm looking at it from a speaking educational point of view. I disagree with how he delivered. And obviously I've got a background in that and gone and done my teaching quals and stuff like that. So I was just like, I don't believe this is the best way to get information across, because it was more fear mongering and kind of hierarchical than anything else, which is it's just not. The science backs it up. That's not how people learn. So I was like, the people will remember this because they were scared about it, not because they've learned something. And had like a bit of enlightenment, where I feel like when we were talking about what's his faces, copyright, Mike Samuels one was a very kind of a walk you through discovery of each and stuff he found interesting more than this is what happens. So it left room for kind of thought and perhaps like invoking thought, and kind of that was the one. Obviously, I wrote the most stuff that perhaps I could apply this to this. Perhaps I could apply this to this. That's what encouraged in my brain. But there are different ways of learning. But yeah, it was. I just hope that the people will like take it aside and be like, all right, is this needed right now? No, park it. I'll maybe learn a little bit about it later. And don't rip up everything they've ever done because of what was said basically on that kind of talk, because it was like very much negative impact of this, but I have the answer. Here's this supplementation from my point of view.
And then after that we had Callum Pretty, who was my client, who talked about how to work with a niche that isn't you. Because again, a lot of people do pick a niche that's kind of them or a previous version of them. And Callum works with females that are struggling with poor relationship with food, and has an MSc in mental health, so kind of knows a lot of the stuff that needs to be known from an authority point of view. Obviously, he did say has previously struggled with relationship with food post bodybuilding show, so he kind of had a little bit of experience with it. But people aren't going to necessarily relate to him because he's a bloke versus a female. So it's kind of, how do you do that? Because I think he does that quite well with again, his authority, and he uses a lot of his knowledge and ability there. And then after that we had John Clark, who has a really inspiring story. He's done literally every single fucking crazy fucking thing to do.
If anybody doesn't know like his stuff, like his story is insane. He was my first ever coach, and his story is just mad, isn't it? We've both worked with him. Absolutely. He just his personality is like, fuck it, let's see if I can do it. That's literally it. On everything.
It's crazy how he views the world and how he views challenges and stuff like that. And I think a lot of coaches could learn a lot from it. Just again, listen to his story. You hear him getting his online coaching business off the ground and up to where it is now, and the amount of people he's helping. And it's like, it doesn't surprise me. Like, based on what he told me before, in that talk and seminar, and based on what he did, you go, you're gonna be fine with this. And it just comes from desire and willpower. And again, I really do hate kind of like reducing online coaching down to this, but it's like, there is a bit of it where it's like, I just know that people aren't working hard enough. And I come back to it all the time, and I hate being that person that says you're not working hard enough, blah, blah, blah. But he is a prime example of, didn't even know that was on loud. He is a prime example of putting your mind to something and just being so pig-headed that you just do it. That's how I describe John. Again, I think he probably described himself in that way. He is talented as well. He doesn't know what he's doing, but I think he's so pig-headed, he'll just do it. regardless. You tell him you can't do it, he'll just be like, "Fuck you, I'm doing it."
Yeah.
Like, that's the attitude I feel like you get with him.
That's the thing. Like in terms of those personalities, though, are very few and far between. He's 1 in a million kind of personality in terms of what he does and how he drives himself, and just a lot of most people cannot do what he does because he's relentless about what he does, and most people don't have that probably like almost strength, but I don't. There's different strengths in different things, so I don't think people should be like, "Fuck, I'm so shit." And when you're looking at somebody's like that, because there are those 1 in a million kind of people that are just like, yeah, just kind of wired differently,
Yeah.
which is insane. And obviously, he's had adversity in the fact that he's lost his hearing, right, and that kind of stuff's happened. So, which is crazy, but it's such a cool journey as well, from being strongman to losing shit tons of weight to building. Like we obviously knew him when he was building his gyms. I've been to a couple of his gyms, and then now he can't coach, so he's like, because he can't hear, so he has to do everything. And then he's built his online business, so he can do that instead of coaching. Yeah, so really cool, really, 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 really cool. It was a cool story. Didn't take much educational content from it, but very cool kind of story about like being relentless and what you want to do. It's like, I think the biggest quote for him was, is it lack of resources or is it lack of resourcefulness, was the biggest memory quote that I could get from him. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, 100%. I think most of us would just moan that we don't have enough of something rather than think about how to fucking do it without those things.
Yeah, I think that's the overall kind of vibe, isn't it? Is
yeah,
he just was like, I'm not going to let it, get to that point.
He's the epitome of just strap on a pair and fucking do it. Really cool. Yeah. But it was nice, good little event, mate. And then Dan swiftly lost at beer pong, I heard.
172, mate. So
172.
Don't know where you've heard that. To be honest.
7-2. You must have been there longer than that. Only 9 games.
No, we had no challenges, mate. We had no challenges after they saw what was going on. Had no challenges. Yeah, I think that's the problem. So yeah, we won. We lost the first game, which was a friendly. Doesn't count.
Is that what it is?
If you want to count
breakfast ball, isn't it? It's breakfast ball. Mulligan.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. So we had that and we lost. And then we had the 2 Portuguese guys. One of them was my client, and they're not allowed to enter the British champs. And we told them this. They weren't allowed to join because they're not got a British passport, and we lost to them. So really, you could look at it as 8-0, really, because really, no, 9-0, because they forfeit the game on that one. So okay, if you're being kind, okay, don't even count the game. Okay, 8-0. But some people call it 7-2. If you want to call it 7-2, it's still a landslide victory.
Yeah.
I just think that's the way to that's the way that I looked at it anyway. But then no, we had some fun with that, and it wasn't too late to be fair either. It was not too bad by the time we got back. But that's the bit I think people should come for. But most people come for the event. I don't know why no one comes out. Not as many people come for the night out. I think we probably had maybe 30, 35 in the end for the night out, all in. That's what I need to do the most. I think you need to do that. And then of course the other thing that was brought up, Tom, was the business amount of golf day that needs to happen at some point, maybe next year. We need to start getting the wheels in motion for that, because I think that's going to go a treat.
That can definitely happen. Well, we've already got the London London Health Professionals Golf Day happening at London until and a little bit.
What odds can we get on you for that? I want to know.
Well, it's a team scramble event, so probably quite high. Boring.
I want to put some in on you. I want to put you down as a winner.
There's 12 so far, and it's just there's 3, because there's a lot of like different handicaps, like varying handicaps. So it's like, obviously we're playing Stableford, but I thought we did a scramble event last time, so we want to double down. It invokes the teamness of it, so I think it's quite fun. Be quite fun. But obviously the rules are, Daniel, of this. I'm sure you played scrambles before. You have to take at least 4 tee shots from every member of your team. So
one on each par 3 as well. One on a par 3.
No, we don't. We're just doing 4 tee shots.
Do that as well. So, I do one on a par 3 as well. That's always fun.
So, which is always great. So it's kind of like, so last time I think 10 of my tee shots were used and 4 of each other's. And we were like, for Lucas, who's actually the mid handicapper, not the worst handicapper in our group, we were like, can you fucking just put an iron down the middle of the fairway, please? And we like ended up taking one like behind a fucking tree. We're like, you are having a day, mate. You are having a day. So yeah, obviously normal stuff, long drive, nearest pin, all that kind of shit's happening, which should be fun at the Shire. That'll be fun.
The Shire.
The Shire. But yeah.
Where's that?
It is in something Shire.
Brilliant.
I don't know. It's not that far away from me. Like 45 minutes an hour. That way.
That way. It's great for a podcast, Tom.
I'm pointing.
That way.
I'm pointing. I don't know where it is. Berkshire? The Shire.
Berkshire?
No, it can't be.
That'd be west, wouldn't it?
It's in Hertfordshire. That's where it is.
Hertfordshire, right? Okay, north.
There we go. Northeast, mate. From where I am, it's northeast.
Yeah, sound.
Yeah,
there you go.
Should be fun. All right. We've got 2 things we can give less than 5 minutes. I promised everybody that they would keep up to date on my YouTube stuff because, believe it or not, Dan, I haven't just posted one YouTube. Like you were talking at the event, I've posted 10 videos and nothing's happened. So we're gonna follow this, and obviously I've got accountability in you, to be fair, and Mike. But yeah, we'll give some numbers. So I would say I'm 10 weeks in. Right, so 10 weeks into YouTube posting, whatever. This is what counts. My subs have only gone up like maybe 6 in the last month. It's not great, but oh well, doesn't really matter. My views are up 8.4 thousand more than normal, so that is gone up 200% in the last 28 days.
Good.
That's pretty good. So that means watch time is 42 hours. So it's up like almost 300% in the last 28 days. So which is good, I believe, which is better than what is. But as you can see, kind of growth is good in terms of what has been happening. So your channel got 12,045 views. Obviously, that's with shorts as well. So anything that I'm posting on Instagram, I'm cross-posting onto YouTube Shorts, and then along with one podcast and one reaction video a week. So it's kind of 2 videos, but the podcast get fucking nothing because everybody just listens to this fucking thing. So it's fine. But yeah, interesting one, Daniel. I'm starting.
So what you need to
around.
do, Tom, is start to tell people to follow you, don't you?
Yeah, essentially, but also get people over to subscribe, because obviously you need to be at like 500 or 1,000 to like actually make like 1 penny from views and stuff, or be monetized, which is obviously the goal eventually, whatever. But it's interesting from that. Those are like the overview content analytics, but then you can go on to like videos. So all my short stuff is up, but my video stuff is kind of normal. So that just means my shorts have done better this month, if I'm really honest. And all the videos have been kind of pretty much the same. So from where I look, but I've also got slightly different data because I did also like upload quite a lot of, I uploaded like 74 exercise videos this month, which have not got a lot of views because I'm not posting about them or publishing them or anything like that. So that's a little bit different. So it's a little bit skewed, but that will happen from month to month. So it's interesting. And also that means my average view duration tends to go a little bit different for those, right? Because they're only normally about 30 seconds long. So yeah, you probably look at percentage of, but yeah, we're interesting.
Good start, mate. That's the thing. That's the key thing. It's a good start, and you've got some good baseline data to go off. I think that's the key thing, isn't it? To remember.
It's just interesting. I find it really interesting of how to just try.
Do you see when people? Have you started looking at when people drop off your videos and stuff like that, and when?
Yeah, a little bit. But I've looked at that kind of stuff, and I'm like, am I early enough to? Probably slightly too early to. Really care about it, because I've probably got to get to like, I don't know, 15, 20 of like, cool, solid. Because like the 10th one was like, all right, that's a baseline. I feel like that's my next, and then I've got to make the next 10 a little bit better. What have I learned? What have I done? Blah blah blah. So it's interesting, and I've played around with like a different style of what's the display picture thumbnail. So we'll see how these do for a little bit. So with more of just the background of where I am and inserting stuff over the top rather than like a blank canvas thing and doing that kind of stuff. So I'll see how those do for maybe 5-6 videos. So you play around with thumbnail because obviously big channels like do A and B things, don't they? They put like one thumbnail out for like 2-3 days, then they change the thumbnail for a few days, and you can even like have like different thumbnails for different regions to see what they do, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, interesting, which is good.
Yeah, I think you just need so much data to do all those little A/B tests for things. I think it's just a lot more. Isn't it?
And it's just like if you're a big channel, then yeah, of course, like crack on. But if it's a supplementary to a business, maybe not. It's not a business, right? So that's where it starts running. Like, I think I've started like who are the people that I've started? How do you see where you've recently subscribed to people? So I watched a bit of Ali Abdul.
Yeah.
I find him quite smarmy.
Smarmy. Yeah.
Smarmy.
Same.
Yeah.
No, I don't like him.
I don't really like it. Like there's some stuff I just he's another one. Yeah, I feel like he's talking down to me rather than talking to me. Which I don't really like. I quite like some of the Think Media stuff.
Yeah.
They seem okay. That's quite fun. And there was another guy that I quite liked, but I can't remember. I've got too many people I subscribe to now. I need to fucking cull this. Most of them golfers.
Yeah, all the golf channels.
Literally golf channels, which is interesting. And obviously, I've got certain things like, I don't know. The charismatic voice is one of the ones. It's such a stupid thing that it's like if you watched it, you would be like, yeah, Tom's into that. But I like watching an opera singer react to metal stuff, like because I find it quite interesting. Like, and she's like a trained like opera singer, and she's reacting to like stuff like Disturbed or Ren or stuff like that. And for me, it's quite fun. But yeah, I'm making notes on that shit because I'm like, that's the stuff I go to it for. Is there like cross stuff happening? Anyway, all right, Daniel. I got an email.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna write back. Thank you for your email.
Thank you for your email.
So I have to do it like this, obnoxiously.
Can't hear that.
Oh, you can't hear it. He's got a shitter mic than I have. That's bad, isn't it?
He sits there, it puts it real close to reckon like this with a microphone, and then just starts going.
Yeah, I can't hear it on yours because we both got pop mics on, haven't we?
Oh right, there you go.
He hasn't got a fucking pop shield. Sort out, David L. You can afford a pop shield. Yeah. Fuck me.
I think he does it for the effect, to be honest.
I think he does, right? Anyway, that's Chatbix. That's a Chatbix reference, everybody.
Chatbix.
Still the best podcast out there, unfortunately. The least informative. You know what I found out, Dan? This behind the curtain a little bit for me. I thought it was a little bit more released up to date than it is. They're like a month and a bit behind.
Yeah.
Blew my mind because I was like, why have they not talked about this show that Joe's on Amazon? Like Last One Laughing. And it's been huge. It's been so well received. It smashed it. It was like the most after Adolescence. It was the most watched thing on like streaming TV in the UK. And I was like, he was on it, and they hadn't fucking talked about it. No wonder because it hadn't come fucking out yet on their thing. So I'm waiting for them because there's something I wanted to talk about, and they haven't talked about it yet. And I was like watching it. I'm like, what the fuck? So anyway. Very funny. I feel like it's only a matter of time until Dan has an MMU. So that's going to be fun.
Oh, what?
MMUs. You're going to be part of an MMU club, aren't you?
Yes. Mystery Meetup, whatever it's called.
Mystery Meetups.
Mystery Meetup. Yeah.
Well,
it'd be golf. It'd be mystery meetup because it'd be a golf course, random golf course
every single time. Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Mystery meetups. Just you get to pick a random golf course every month, and we go that. I mean, that sounds like something we should do if we're honest. I mean, it wouldn't be much of a mystery until obviously it'd be a mystery until you get there, right? No, and you have to type it in your sat nav. It'd be interesting. We'll do that in a bit. Anyway, I got an email. So I'm training someone for a half Ironman shock I'm doing, and but I'm doing that like a few of these guys and girls and stuff. I've got some ultra runners and all this kind of stuff, but I work with their endurance coach. Cool. So they program their. Not all of them do this, but some of them do this. I do it all, but they're like, "Oh, I've got an endurance coach, a running coach, a tri coach. Cool, but I want you to take a look at my S&C because it sounds like they don't know what they're doing." This confirms this, Daniel. All right. So, hope. Hi, Tom. Hope you're doing well and expecting an email from me. Sorry, meant to do it earlier in the week, but things have been manic. Blah, blah, blah. Very nice email. Person mentioned that you are doing her PT sessions, described herself as an explosive athlete. She's not an explosive athlete. I'm training her up for a 70.3, as you can imagine. So this is where stuff starts to turn, Daniel. So up to a 70.3, it's half an Ironman, same one as I'm doing. As you can imagine, explosiveness, high anaerobic muscle activity / high strength will work counter to her efficiency in the preparation to the race.
Even I know that's bullshit. Carry on.
So I just wanted to ask firstly, what kind of training are you doing with her? Have you got a program over the next 5 months as the race is in September? If you have a maximal strength phase, could you tell me when those weeks might be so I can avoid running her after those sessions to prevent injury? And finally, and reasonably, I'm going to do a metabolic library testing. Absolutely fine. If I found out she's a very anaerobic athlete, would you consider switching her to a more stability, injury prevention, mobility program? Again, no worries. If not, just worth asking. Happy to jump on a call and discuss a number of things. Sorry for the long email. All the best.
Who's that from?
This is from this person's triathlon coach.
Wow.
Right?
Well, they need to get a triathlon
coach. All right, just fucking social proof, all right? Claire, one of my athletes who is an ultra runner, ran 60 odd miles at the weekend. We set a 25-minute PB at the weekend. And she has done, since with me, nothing but high strength, high explosivity, tendon strengthening, like all the way through, because that's how the body needs to adapt and become better at doing stuff for longer. And it's this email. I talked to said athlete, and I was like, just a little thing. Do you want me to go in hard on your tri coach, or should I just be like, it's cool, I'm just going to sort out the S&C, you worry about this? I would just request that she does a swimming session after her S&C sessions. That's fine. Or do you want me to explain why this email is a bunch of nonsense and is probably like S&C of, I'd say, 25 years ago, maybe?
And the rest, probably.
Right. So just to put this into, so we can have perspective, right? Explosiveness, anaerobic muscle activity, and high strength do not counter the efficiency of prep for a long distance thing. They do not. There's no chance. And even if you think it did, high explosiveness and kind of power work only fucking stays with you for about 2 days, and then it starts to go down. So chances are it's not sticking with you if you're just doing that. Bearing in mind this person's going to be doing at least up to about 14 hours of slow, steady state and whatever training. The stuff that we do in the gym is they're not going to have massive. There's no time for it as well. So it's not going to have that much benefit. So the only things that I when I train people for long distance stuff in the gym, they're mostly about tendon adaptation. They're trying to get more elastic capabilities. They're trying to get a little bit more absorption in kind of muscle tissue. So they're trying to absorb force a little bit better. And they're trying to get just generally fucking strong, because stronger people tend to break down less, which is essentially what endurance athletes tend to break down a lot, because they've got like a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, consider switching to a more stability, injury prevention, and mobility program. I know that is code for a bullshit physio thing. Like that is code for under
Bands and
stimulus
BOSU balls.
and underloading. Like I know it is, because it is normally like the S&C for long distance athletes are chronically underloaded, massively underloaded, because they think it's going to have an effect on their stuff, like post. And it's like, no, you do their heavy like session, and then you go into perhaps like a swim or a recovery run the day after, and then they're fine. Like, I don't really understand what they think. I'm not powerlifting the fucking person. Like, it's not that much. It might be 4 sets of heavy tin. That's about it. Yeah. And I, believe it or not, I'm a great coach, but I tend not to know 5 months in advance what that person's doing, because of one, holidays. Two, I don't know how they're then adapt to the next 12 weeks. And that might change based off whether they've got a better counter movement jump, whether they're better on their bench press, whether they're better on this other stuff. So it depends on what they're doing, whether I push them down like reactivity or whether I go to more strength stuff. It will 100% how they adapt over the next 3 months. What I know what they're doing on month 5, because I won't know. I just don't know. So yeah, that annoyed me, Dan. It irked me slightly. Yeah, I was like,
I've had it before where someone wants to collaborate on some work and you're sitting there going, no, you're an idiot. I don't want to collaborate with you on anything. Like, do you know?
I haven't written back yet. I was like, I need to. I'll try and do it tonight. But yeah, just a weird one, because I don't want to come back like condescending or annoyed. I might just write back, all good. Here's a screenshot of what said person might be doing in the future, but I can't like give you the exact breakdown, because I only really program kind of 6 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
So yeah, weird one, yeah, weird one.
I think it just shows, to be fair, like as well, like how I think sometimes we forget about this regularly, is like how far ahead you are, because we're quite humble people and we're not really gonna brag too much. I do think that you realize, like I do it regularly with people when they come from the mentorships, and then with me, they're like, oh my God, I finally get it now. It all makes sense. I'm like, why? What have they been teaching you? Like, what have you been going through here? Like seriously. Like, and I think sometimes, again, we can do ourselves a disservice by just thinking that, well, everyone should know this. Well, they don't. Or everyone should be like this. They're not. Most people aren't. Most people are like that person that sent you that email. Runner. If you're a runner or got a BOSU ball, make your ankles nice and stable on a BOSU ball.
Stable,
like,
no?
Sorry, what? Like, again, baffling, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I just think the older I get, the more I realize how many fucking dumb people there are in the world. Which again is frightening. Really, like the amount of them there are. And also how many of them get by and again say this shit and get away with it and charge a lot of money for it. Like it's baffling.
But he doesn't charge as much as me, so.
No, but it's still charging money though. Do you know what I mean? Like, like, come on.
But for essentially wrong information. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah. For factually incorrect help. Counterintuitive help. Ridiculous, isn't it? When you think about that. But it is, mate.
Well, it is what it is. All right. That ends us. Go watch YouTube. I did 2 compilation episodes. If you missed all of my last 10, I just jammed a few into one. So I did a best and worst. And I discovered why people do compilation episodes, because when they're pushed for time, it's a lot easier to fucking do. I was like, I managed to put together an edit. Obviously, if you have it like on file, blah, 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 push together and edit 2 like 10-minute YouTubes in about an hour and 10 minutes. So that was good. I was quite happy with myself then. I was like, that's done. Lovely. But you obviously have to do the fucking 3-4 hours per fucking YouTube clip beforehand to have the ability to fucking do that. So, Jesus. And now my camera's just gone down.
Camera's just frozen, mate.
I know. Probably a good time to switch off now.
There you
I've
go.
got into that.
Yeah.
Got into that one as well.
Well, Tom
There
will be
we
moving to a new
go.
place next time we speak. That's the beauty of that.
Yeah, no, that'd be good, wouldn't it? I don't know where I'll be. I'll still have this place though. I'll still do it.
Okay.
So I might
It's
be
good to
here
have two
all day.
places to live. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Just love playing double on things. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We will catch you next week.
See you later.